Okay. So at the end of last stream, we had a broken program that was not rendering text correctly. I have good news. We have a working program that does render text correctly. So this is rendering this. I've got it not rendering editable stuff right now. We'll see what we do about that this session. I think I maybe want to change that. But yes, it's rendering this. Look at that in glorious detail. So next up on the list of things to do in this program is text input. So what I want to be able to do is pretty basic. I want to be able to show a little cursor here. I might even display the underlines just to make it clear that there's some space there for input. So maybe when there's nothing there, I even want to display the underlines possibly. But then I want to also be able to tab between them, or if not tab, enter, or use the arrow keys, maybe even use HJKL because these are all numbers. So yeah, we want to get text input working this session. The bug, for those who were following at home with text rendering before, the biggest bug was this was set equals 0. My eyes glazed over. I read here for vertex shaders, set 0 sampled textures, when quite clearly this is for vertex shaders. It even labels it. My eyes just glazed over. And I should have been reading for fragment shaders, set 2 sampled textures. So that was the biggest bug. It certainly wasn't the only one, but after this one got resolved, everything else was just, it was pretty easy to track down and fix it. So our shader is pretty basic. There's a block here that just selects what color is going to be used. So we have a uniform that gives all the different kinds of colors for boxes, for edits, on buttons, off buttons. And if the UI element is selected, it should be brighter. So this is the multiplier to make it brighter. And there's a block that just simply selects the color based upon some flags. And we select which character we want to render, we multiply it if it's selected, and out we go. So it's pretty basic shader, doesn't really do too much, just places some characters. And today we're going to do something that kind of just extends this. It's very similar to this work. It's just that we're going to have a little cursor displayed, and we'll have to change our vertices over time, because currently our vertices are static. We don't change any of our vertices after initial setup. We just splat them all into a giant buffer and render. But now if we want to add new characters, we'll have to add new vertices that put a new box on the screen. Actually, strictly, we don't have to do that. And this is maybe something to think about. But since the 0 character is blank, we could always output those boxes and just say that the character that they're rendering is the 0 character, or the underscore character if we decide to do that instead. We'll see. We'll see. But let's put some music on and get into it. I think for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these displayed. So it'll display this. And what I want is, I want to just track keyboard input and edit the currently selected buffer on keyboard input. I think that's what I want to start with. And then we'll do some basic validation to make sure it's a number or whatever. So that shouldn't be too hard. So let's start by rendering out these underscores, which should be pretty easy, I think. This might be the easiest way. Yeah, there are the underscores. Okay. I think that's the easiest way. We'll come back and we'll deal with editable stuff separately later. But for now, we're just going to comment this out to do... what do we do about this? We might just have a giant switch statement here. That's probably the best way to do it. Yes, here we go. So we fixed the bug from last time. We got our text layout, and we have these fields that we now want to be able to edit text to. Because currently pressing, whoop. Oh, I must have pressed Q. My bad. Currently pressing stuff on the keyboard doesn't do anything. But I want to be able to, type numbers in here. So that's what we're working on right now. I guess we could do HJKL as well, but let's see if this works so far. Okay, it doesn't even compile, so it certainly doesn't work. Okay, doesn't do anything. Very good. Can we update the FPS? Because it's currently just 10 FPS. Can we do 60? Does that make a difference? And that makes a huge difference, actually. Oh, because we're not doing it. Yeah, not doing it also makes a massive difference, it turns out. Let's try doing it. After we handle our events. Yeah, it's still flickering. Still flickering. Oh. Ew. Curious. I'm gonna wait on the fence and render screen. I currently don't do it. I just pump these out as fast as possible. Okay, that looks a lot nicer. Yeah, that's still cooked, but that's fine. I expect that. Yeah, so it redraws the entire screen. Right, because it clears it. Right. Every time we redraw the screen, we clear the screen. I guess we have to redraw the entire frame. That's kind of a bummer. I wonder if it's easier to have the offset into the vertices array and just update that rather than mem copy the entire thing. I put that back where it was before because we want to redraw the entire frame. I thought I could get away with only redrawing a tiny part of it. And maybe we still could. Instead of rendering to a swap chain, we could render to a texture and load from that texture every frame and then copy that texture to the swap chain. So we still could get away with doing that, but I don't think it's worth it. I mean, it might be, I just don't think it is. So what we need to do is every frame we need to do this. It's not enough just to transfer it to the GPU, we actually need to do it. Yeah, there we go. That changed. That changed. That changed. That changed. That looped to the button, which is now off. And it's now on. Okay, brilliant. Okay, tabbing works. Alright, tabbing works. That wasn't one of the things here. There we go. This is how you get more stuff done. You just add stuff that you did even if it wasn't on your list. Not what? Not clearing? Not, Jesus Christ. You know what, I'm gonna fix this now. This is a massive pain. See family. Yeah. Align to the opening parenthesis or opening brace, whichever is first. Yeah. This, I don't like. I think I'll just delete this. Permission denied. You're forgetting one teensy tiny little detail. One teensy weensy but ever so crucial little tiny detail. Oh, beautiful, amazing. Yes. Fuck. Ugly, but whatever. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6d7 plus 1. Keep. Should we just have them all be 0? We'll try it out. We'll see how it feels. We'll take a look at the mouth feel. This. We're gonna change all this. I feel like this should be not something I have to edit manually, but it's so easy, I don't care. Oh, nice. Okay, 10d6 plus 8. Hell yeah. Okay. So backspace would be good, and then we need to actually get to the doing of the fucking main thing. So if I go 1-1 and then I go backspace. Nice. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. 420 D69s. I want to see it. Show me the graph. Alright. I've done my victory lap for text input. We've got some sexy looking text input. Next up on the agenda is graphing. Is it easy enough to tell what's selected? Not really. I wonder if we could make these a little bit duller even, just so it's easier to see how bright this one is. Yes. Yes. This is it. This is the one. That text looks like shit though, but this is it. Are they mutually exclusive? I don't think so. Oh, I think they are. I'm not sure. Because if you have... It depends whether you do keep high first or keep low first. Like if you have keep the two highest and the two lowest. If you do keep high first, and then after that you do keep the lowest. That's different from if you first keep the lowest two, and then from that keep the highest two. So they might actually be mutually exclusive. Ooh. It's taking a while to do the simulations. It's doing it every single fucking frame. Jesus. Better idea. Don't do that. If resim, then I will allow you to do that. So now we should be able to write big numbers in here. Yeah, it's not any slower. So what we could do to begin with is draw a histogram. I don't want to end up with a histogram. I would like to see an actual curve. But we can start with a histogram because it's a lot easier to draw. Why is it blank? If it's rendering triangles, it should be not blank. So we're clearly overriding the vertice buffer because it's getting rid of all these vertices. They're just disappearing. So we're clearly overriding. Oh, yeah. It's the same thing it always is. Coordinate systems. Here, plot bounds. Yeah. Does that work? Looks right to me. So where are my circles? Circles. Where are my squares? Are my results bogus? Okay, they're all 0. Okay, so that didn't work then. But it failed at trial 475 because we got a total of 9. How'd we get a total of 9? Oh. Haha. Fuck. Hey, that looks pretty good. That shouldn't be scaled like that. What the fuck is that? What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That looks right. But what is this? Ah, leftover vertices. Ah, I getcha. I'm picking up what I'm putting down. Okay, so if we could add axes, that would be great. This one sort of doesn't do anything. I mean, it does do something because pressing a key reruns the experiment. Yeah. Okay, we got a couple of bugs to fix, but the basics work. If I want to roll 2d20, get a graph. Look at that, real sexy. Keep the highest one and it crashes. So we got a couple of bugs to fix. But the basics look correct. If I want to roll 4d6, there's a distribution. Yeah, it looks like all the basics are working, and we got the graphing, so I still want to put in axes to give these values meaning. The plus kind of doesn't mean anything at all because, you know, it just scales the axes here. You know, you don't actually need to do anything. Yeah, but it'd be nice to have axes. I want to get the high and low working, but other than that, it seems this is pretty much what I was looking for. Well, this is what I set out to do, and I think my conclusion is that SDL3 is substantially better for a user than Vulkan. If I need to do graphics work in the future, it'll be SDL3 based. Part of why I wanted to do this, yeah, because in the modern art project, the way that we're doing output is, I mean, I don't really like it, to be honest. Apparently we're not doing output at all, apparently. Where has my output gone? Okay, well, the way that we're doing output is by piping it to a GNU plot instance. So if I just bring up the code here, we just pipe it to a GNU plot instance. Oh, that would be why it's not working. Yeah, so we just pipe it to a GNU plot instance, and you know, that's fine for some basic graphs. There's not a problem with that. Like, you know, this is fine. But what I want to plot is very hard to visualize. It's, you know, you can imagine like a round robin result table that just lists the kind of strength of the victory. If this player plays this player, make the square of their intersection brighter. And that's fine for 2D. But what I want to do is I need to visualize a game that has 4 players. And so you can get that down to 3 players quite easily by focusing one player. So there's one player that you're actually interested in. You want to know how this player performs. So you can kind of whittle that down to 3 players. But it's still quite complicated to graph that many dimensions, right? That's still like 4 dimensions. You have 3 players plus the strength of the result. And so graphing something like that, I think I want it to be interactive. I think the only way it makes sense is if you have something interactive. I haven't quite figured out all the details of how I want that to work. But it definitely can't be static. That's not gonna quite cut it. So I don't think GNU plot's gonna quite work out for what I want to do. I want to do something that's custom. If I continue with that project, that's why I started this grapher, because I have plans for this output. But I don't know if I want to necessarily continue with that. But anyways, if I do, then this will be good practice. I sort of understand how this works. Though it's taken quite a while to get some very basic output here, just like a graph and, you know, some text rendering. Though most of that time was dealing with bugs. So yeah, it's nice to once again end a stream with a working program. Look at it in all its glory. It's definitely, the world needs this program, you know. I've definitely done a great service to the world in making this, for sure, 100%. So you can, you know, there's no need to thank me. But yeah, that'll be it for now. I think I'll end the stream there.